It's hard enough for the Internal Revenue Commission to bring in the elusive tax kina, harder to comprehend if it is not spent wisely. Also, a new pathology laboratory in Port Moresby, another in the continuing public-private partnership, and a university centre at last in Maprik, East Civic Province. The reports on PNG Tonight, this Friday, the 18th of November. Hello everyone, I'm John Eggins. Thank you for your company. Two messages directed to two groups of public servants by the Chief Secretary to Government, Ambassador Isaac Lupari. One, to the staff of the Internal Revenue Commission, the people who are required to collect all the taxes. And the other, the bigger group of public servants who spent the money. Ambassador Lupari urged both sides to work hard and reminded them of their responsibilities. The message is simple: collect the elusive tax kina, and once the money is in the coffers, spend it wisely. Gregory Avira reports.
Come out of Wangani to come and address our IRS staff.
The Internal Revenue Commission continues to be an important government institution that ensures funding is made available to carry out plans and services by the government. It has a huge task at hand for next year. With the recently passed 2017 budget, over 9 billion kina will be needed by the government, much of which will have to be generated by the Internal Revenue Commission. How effective this key institution performs can determine the amount of government services and policies that will be implemented. Chief Secretary to Government, Ambassador Isaac Lupari, earlier in the week met with staff from the Commission. The purpose of the meeting, to encourage staff and management of the Commission to perform their duty well.
I feel as a Chief Secretary to Government is to go out and connect with all the public service, not by just sitting in Wagani and sending instructions, but going out and meeting them, talking to them, and telling them about challenge. Have a frank and honest conversation with them, because these are Papua New Guineans. They're smart people, very highly educated, and I think as managers, it's about motivating these people, so that through motivation and encouragement, they're able to lift their game. So I see my role not only as policy advisor, but as a manager who wants to motivate Papua New Guineans to believe in themselves, that they have a responsibility.
The Commission in recent years has failed to bring in an estimated 2 billion kina annually, a large amount of money that can be used to provide much-needed services to the country. But the Chief Secretary says the Commission can do better in their work to make sure all money owed to the state is collected. And the change in work attitude, he believes, should start at a more personal level.
My task is to, as I said, is to mobilize the public service to be able to respond to the challenges that we face today. And not only challenging them, but there are many ways of mobilizing. One is to get them to believe in themselves, and they must become an agent of change themselves as well. Because like I was saying, that if we are talking about all these changes that we're going to implement, there's no point talking about change if we are not going to change ourselves. First thing is to look within ourselves, reflect on what we've been doing the last 40 years as individual, collectively, as an organization, and to be able to say, yes, there are good lessons that we've learned, but there are also changes that we have to make, our attitude to work and all sorts of things. So
next year we'll see the staging of the general elections, followed by APEC in 2018. Both big events, apart from key government priorities that will require sufficient government funding. The Chief Secretary says with the low revenue being generated from commodity exports, money is not a luxury that the country has at present, and what available resources we have should be put to good use.
Now with the commodity price has now dropped to the lowest point, it's not affecting our budget. You must know that Papua New Guinea is dependent on global markets for export. This is how vulnerable we are. We are what we call an open economy. We depend on imports. And we are price takers. What happens in a global front in terms of our commodity affects us greatly. So price at some price like gas price or oil price was about 88 dollars, or not $8, but almost about $80, $90. But now it's come down. It's come down to a 40, 45. So it means that it has affected our budget. So the kind of revenue that we are handling before is not the same as today. The revenue has now dropped. So what the government is doing is to try and live within our means, rather than trying to create big expectations, which we can't finance.
While the IRC has been challenged to perform, Ambassador Lupari says the public service as a whole must also help by delivering services in a more cost-effective way to avoid unnecessary spending. The year ahead will be tough for all government departments with planned funding reductions. So it is important now more than ever for the public service to function well together to ensure services are delivered to the country.
Next year, like last 2 years, it's going to be a challenging year for us. But we've managed to overcome many of the challenges this year, last year, and I'm confident that next year we will do the same thing. And today is my conversation with the IRC. They're the most important agency. They're the one who go and collect money. They collect almost 9 billion. They will be collecting 9 billion of our budget for next year. So it's important that I have this conversation with them to make them recognize that they have a very pivotal role to play. Because if they collect, every toya will go towards financing health services, education, tuition fee, infrastructure. This is a very important part of government, which keeps family healthy, keeps jobs of our moms and dads.
Gregory Avira reporting there. After the break, Port Moresby's new pathology laboratory.